Happy Easter. Doubting Thomas, as most of us have come to know him, had another name. His other name was Didymus, which means twin. A twin remains always a twin, someone whose identity is marked by the fact that he has a brother or sister. It's interesting that Thomas was separated from his twin on this first Sunday. There's an important lesson here. We do not encounter the Lord as individuals, but always as part of a community of the church. None of the saints ever went to the Lord as individuals. Even Paul, who had that famous encounter with Christ on the road to Damascus, was welcomed into the church by the disciple Ananias. Encountering Jesus requires this communion with the church. And today's gospel shows us how to achieve that communion. 8 days later, Thomas is present with the brothers. 8 days is a Jewish expression for the passage of 1 week. Here we see how the early church was already settling into the rhythm of a weekly encounter with the whole assembly on the day of the resurrection. In this life of relationship with his brothers and sisters, there are appointments which are regular in nature. In fact, in the early centuries of the church, the sense of the importance of Sunday was very strong. The Sabbath and resting on that day were already essential to the Hebrew mind. Most of the first Christians were Jewish, and they maintained this sense of Sabbath, but moved it 1 day to the day of the resurrection. And this is the day when we experience mercy. But mercy is also something that we don't receive in an individual way. Mercy is the call to fraternal communion. I can't claim to love God I cannot see if I don't love the sister or brother I do see. Mercy is not an automatic dispenser of grace whenever it suits us. It's not up to us to decide when to approach God. The Lord has let us know where and when he is to be found. I might be under the impression I can be redeemed in my own time, on my own terms, but it doesn't work like that. The Lord has given us these liturgical moments, and Thomas is a great witness to the importance of those moments. He doesn't show greater unbelief than the rest of the disciples. They were all slow to believe when Mary Magdalene testified to the resurrection. What Thomas really demonstrates is not something like the difference between doubt and faith. The real reason he doesn't believe is because he was absent from the fraternal gathering. Our faith is not an individualistic thing. We have to come to faith as a member of a community. And the goal of our faith is to enter into communion with our sisters and brothers. Thomas believes when he encounters Jesus along with the other disciples. This prepares them for that time when they will no longer see Jesus in the flesh, but they will help others to see him by their testimony. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet still believe.